Patriots fans, it feels good to be back talking about our team because things are finally looking up in Foxboro. The Patriots are sitting at 7 wins and 2 losses, and the energy around this team feels completely different from what we saw earlier in the year. The locker room looks confident, the sideline is fired up, and you can sense that this group is starting to believe they can go toe-to-toe with anybody. But here's the big question floating around right now. If anything were possible, if every player in the league was available, who would you want to see wearing that Patriots jersey for the rest of the season? One name instantly comes to mind when you think about taking this roster from good to great. It's a fun debate because, let's be real, this team has momentum. They're finally running the football with authority, the defense is flying to the ball, and Drake May is starting to look like the kind of quarterback that can command the huddle and control the tempo of a game. But no roster is perfect, especially when you're pushing for a deep playoff run. And that means the trade deadline starts to look like an opportunity. The question becomes, where do the Patriots truly need help? Let's start in the backfield because a lot of people have been asking about that running game. Ramondre Stevenson was out last week dealing with a toe injury, but the good news is that he should be back soon. In his absence, guys like Ty Montgomery and JaMycal Hasty stepped up, and while it wasn't perfect, they did enough to keep the offense balanced. Jamar Jennings even found the end zone, which was great to see. Henderson had some solid carries, and overall, the ground attack held its own. It might not have been flashy, but the Patriots actually won the rushing battle against a team that has one of the most dynamic young running backs in the league. That's no small thing. So for now, the running game looks stable. When Stevenson returns, that 1-2 punch should keep defenses honest. That's why I don't think the Patriots need to panic or make any drastic moves at running back. Keep the current rotation, let the guys stay healthy, and ride that balance as the season gets deeper. Now, let's move over to the wide receivers because that's where things start to get interesting. Every time the Patriots offense takes a step forward, fans immediately ask if it's time to add another weapon on the outside. People keep bringing up names like Brian Thomas Jr. and Chris Olave. And look, I get the excitement. Both guys are young, explosive, and could bring a new level of athleticism to this offense. But before we start dreaming about big trades, we got to think about the ripple effect. If you bring a high-profile receiver who loses targets, right now, Keyshawn Bout has been showing flashes of what made him such a hype prospect out of college. Pop Douglas is thriving in the slot, and even Stephon Diggs, who's been rock solid, needs consistent touches to stay engaged. So if a new star comes in, someone's role shrinks. That's the reality. And chemistry matters. You can't just plug in a new receiver and expect instant magic. Still, if the front office finds the right fit, someone who complements May's strengths and doesn't disrupt the locker room, I'm all for it. It just has to make sense long term. There are always tempting names out there. People mention Calvin Ridley, Odell Beckham Jr., DJ Chark, even Robert Woods. Each of those guys brings something different to the table, but they also come with question marks: age, health, consistency, attitude, or cost. Personally, I'd stay away from the big-name gambles. The Patriots don't need drama. They need production and reliability. Someone like Chark, for example, could fit as a solid depth piece, a receiver 3 who can stretch the field when needed. Nothing flashy, but functional. And honestly, I think the real priority shouldn't even be on the offensive side of the ball. Because if there's one thing the Patriots have always built their identity on, it's defense. And that's where I think the next big move should happen, specifically at edge rusher. The pass rush has had its moments, but it's missing that consistent, relentless pressure that throws elite quarterbacks off rhythm. We saw glimpses of dominance earlier in the season. KC had a sack and a couple of tackles for loss last week, which was encouraging. But Harold Landry hasn't looked quite as explosive as he did early on, and that's a concern. The Patriots' defense is built on depth and rotation, and right now the edge rotation feels a bit thin. Look at how the Philadelphia Eagles dominated last year. They didn't just have 1 or 2 good pass rushers, they had a wave of them. Fresh legs, every drive, constant pressure, total disruption. That's the formula New England needs to recreate if they want to compete with teams like Kansas City or Baltimore. That's why someone like Trey Hendrickson becomes such an intriguing name. The guy is a force. He has that nonstop motor that Belichick loves, and when he's healthy, he's a game changer. The Bengals might be open to moving him, especially after that brutal loss they just suffered, but the catch is that it would probably be a one-year rental. He's on a short extension, so any team trading for him has to accept that risk. You're basically saying, we're going all in this year. And honestly, I wouldn't hate that. If the price is right, Hendrickson could elevate this defense immediately. Imagine pairing him with Matthew Judon when he's back to full strength. That kind of pass-rushing duo can wreck games. But again, it depends on the cost. If the Bengals want a first-round pick, I'd hesitate. If it's more reasonable, maybe a mid-rounder or a player swap, I'd say go for it. There are also smaller, more realistic options out there. Maybe you don't swing for the fences. Maybe you go for that single, as coaches like to say, a reliable rotational edge guy who can keep the starters fresh. Every contender has that unsung hero, the guy who doesn't make headlines but makes plays on third down. That's what the Patriots could use right now. Someone tough, experienced, and hungry. Because let's face it, the AFC is stacked with quarterbacks who can light up a scoreboard if you give them time. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, they'll pick you apart if your front four isn't getting home. The Patriots don't need more flash. They need consistent pressure. And that brings us to another critical spot on the roster, cornerback depth. Last week gave everyone a bit of a scare when Christian Gonzalez went down after going up for that 50-50 ball with Drake London. Thankfully, he's fine and even told coaches he was ready to go back in if needed, which is a huge relief. Gonzalez is an absolute stud, an all-pro level corner in the making. But the issue isn't with the starters. It's with what comes after them. Marcus Jones struggled a bit last game, but that was mostly because the Falcons kept moving London around and forcing mismatches. It's tough when you're a smaller, quick slot corner being asked to handle a big-bodied receiver outside. Jones is a solid player, but he can't be the answer against every type of matchup. That's why the Patriots need more veteran depth at corner. You can't go into the back half of the season hoping everyone stays healthy. Carlton Davis is a great piece, but he's never played a full season. Behind him, you've got Alex Austin and Charles Woods, both talented but untested. That's a dangerous game to play when you're fighting for playoff positioning. There are always veterans sitting on their couches waiting for a call, guys with a ton of experience who can step in right away. You don't need to spend big or give up major draft capital. Bring in a steady presence on a short deal, maybe even a veteran's minimum, just to give the rotation more stability. Think of it as insurance for the most unpredictable part of the season. It's not about making flashy moves or trying to win the headline battle. It's about building a complete roster, one that can survive the grind and adapt when injuries inevitably happen. We've seen teams make quiet, smart pickups down the stretch and completely change their postseason fate. It happens every year. The Patriots should be one of those teams. So yeah, edge rusher and cornerback depth. That's where the real focus should be. Running back and wide receiver are fine for now, and the offense is trending in the right direction. But defense wins championships, and the Patriots know that better than anyone. Strengthen the pass rush. Add some reliable veterans to the secondary, and this team could become a real problem once the playoffs start. When you look at where the Patriots are right now, you can feel that this team is on the verge of something special, but they're still one or two smart moves away from being truly complete. The energy is right. The coaching staff seems locked in, and Drake May is growing with every single game. But football, as we all know, isn't just about talent. It's about balance. And that's where New England has to be calculated. They can't afford desperation trades or short-term panic moves. They need to keep building with the same discipline that made this franchise great for 2 decades. Let's be honest. The offense has been a roller coaster. There are moments when everything clicks, the running lanes open up, the receivers get separation, and it looks like a seasoned veteran dissecting the defense. But then there are series where it all falls apart with missed blocks, dropped passes, or bad timing. That inconsistency comes from growing pains, not lack of effort. And that's why you don't blow everything up. You reinforce the weak spots and let this young core find its rhythm. The running game, for example, doesn't need a superstar addition. It just needs health and continuity. Ramondre Stevenson, when he's 100%, is one of the toughest runners in the league. He breaks tackles, reads lanes patiently, and gives the offense a physical identity. Pairing him with a steady backup like JaMychal Hasty or Kevin Harris provides that change of pace needed to keep defenses guessing. You don't need to chase a big name when your own locker room already has capable players waiting for their shot. Where I see the real turning point is in the passing game. Drake may have shown flashes of brilliance, his pocket presence, his anticipation, his ability to keep plays alive. You can see the confidence building week by week. But for him to take that next step, he needs consistency from his receivers. The connection with Pop Douglas has been promising, and Keyshawn Bout is proving that he belongs. Still, there's room for someone who can stretch the field, demand attention from top corners, and create space underneath for the others. That doesn't mean chasing the biggest name available. Sometimes the smartest move is the quiet one. Maybe you sign a solid route runner who can work the middle, someone who understands spacing and timing. The Patriots have always thrived on precision, not flash. Think about how they used to win games: controlled tempo, smart play design, exploiting matchups. If this team can get back to that formula, may won't need to throw 50 yards downfield every play. He just needs weapons who understand the system and execute it cleanly. And while we're on the subject of execution, let's talk about the offensive line. The big guys up front have been solid, but not spectacular. Too often we've seen May forced to escape the pocket or throw off balance because protection breaks down late in the play. The unit has the talent. It's about chemistry and depth. Injuries happen, and when your second string has to step in, the drop-off can't be massive. The Patriots know this. If there's a sneaky trade or a free agent veteran who can add leadership to that group, they should consider it. The line doesn't just protect the quarterback. It defines the offense's rhythm. Now, shifting back to defense, because that's where New England's identity still lives. When the Patriots' defense is on, it's relentless. They confuse quarterbacks, disguise coverages, and bring pressure from every angle. But in today's league, you can't just rely on schemes. You need athletes who can finish plays. The edge rush is crucial, but so is the ability to cover elite receivers for more than 3 seconds. That's why adding another reliable cornerback isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Christian Gonzalez is already showing he's a star. Carlton Davis brings that physical style on the outside. Marcus Jones is electric in the slot. But football seasons are long and brutal, and injuries can change everything overnight. That's why bringing in a veteran corner, even one past his prime, could make all the difference. Someone who's seen every route combination, who knows how to read a quarterback's eyes, who can mentor the young guys. Sometimes experience is the best weapon you can add at this point in the year. There's another factor that doesn't get talked about enough: leadership. The Patriots used to have locker rooms filled with guys who held everyone accountable. Devin McCourty, Don'e Hightower, Matthew Slater. These were players who didn't just perform, they set the standard. Now, with a younger roster, someone needs to step into that voice of reason role. That's another reason I'd love to see a seasoned defender come in, someone who brings that championship mentality. You can't measure on a stat sheet, but every winning team has it. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with what could be the most shocking move of the season. Tyreek Hill, one of the league's most electrifying wide receivers, has reportedly chosen the New England Patriots in a blockbuster trade that is sending shockwaves through the football community. Sources close to the situation suggest that the deal, still unofficial, could reshape the Patriots' offense and make them instant contenders in a league where elite talent is harder to come by than ever. Hill, known for his jaw-dropping speed and game-breaking ability, has been a constant highlight reel for his previous team, leaving defenders in the dust and fans on their feet. Rumors indicate that his decision to join New England was influenced not just by the team's storied legacy, but also by the opportunity to play under a coaching staff eager to reinvent the offense around his unique skill set. The move, if confirmed, would give the Patriots a weapon capable of turning any play into a highlight, a factor that could intimidate even the toughest defenses in the league. While the details of the trade remain murky, speculation is swirling that multiple draft picks and players were exchanged to secure Hill's talents. Insiders suggest that the Patriots have been quietly working behind the scenes for weeks, and Hill's apparent choice signals a willingness to bet big on immediate success rather than a slow rebuild. Fans and analysts alike are already debating how Hill will mesh with the Patriots' current roster, particularly in the passing game. Social media erupted with reactions almost instantly, with some hailing the Patriots' front office as masterminds and others warning that integrating a player of Hill's caliber into a system takes time and could backfire. Meanwhile, the player himself has remained tight-lipped, though sources hint at excitement about his new challenge and the prospect of helping a historically dominant franchise return to the top. As the league braces for confirmation, one thing is clear. If this rumor turns out to be true, Tyreek Hill in New England isn't just a trade. It's a seismic shift in the NFL landscape. Rival teams are already recalculating, fans are speculating about highlight reel moments, and the Patriots might just have pulled off one of the boldest gambles in recent memory. Stay tuned, because the Hill to Patriots story could be just the beginning of a thrilling new chapter in professional football. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.